Hey, what's up soldiers? My name is GregFPS, the zombies extraordinaire, and welcome back to another video here today on my channel. Last week I made a video called If Origins Was Remastered, and it did really well. You guys really enjoyed it, and I had a great time talking about Origins. Well, today guys, we are going to be discussing if Mob of the Dead was remastered. As you guys know, this is my absolute favorite map, and we're going to be going through 5 basic things for the map. First is going to be the map design, then the Easter egg, then weapons, then the storyline effects, and then last but not least, if changes were made to the map and it was remastered or reimagined and redesigned. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright guys, we're going to start it off with the map design. Now, Mob of the Dead is a real place. Alcatraz Island is a real place in the Bay of San Francisco. And the cool thing that Treyarch did was they actually did a reimagined version of the actual jail on Alcatraz Island. Now, a lot of the things are really similar, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to be talking about the overall map design and how the map feels and everything like that. So, for the map design, you basically start off in a cell block, and there's a few cell blocks around the area. There's a cafeteria, there's the warden's office, then you can go down the spiral staircase to the dock area, and that is also really cool. And also you can fly and crash into the San Francisco bridge. There's also the infirmary, which is above the cafeteria, as well as the roof. Those are like the main areas of the map. Now, as far as the map layout goes, I think that this layout feels perfect. The map is pretty big and it feels large just because of the huge area that is on the map, where you're basically going from the top, like the infirmary, all the way down to the docks. I mean, that's pretty far. So there's a gondola that can bring you from the top of the cell block, where like on the same level as Electric Cherry, and also bring you all the way down to the docks, which makes everything go a little bit faster. Now, I think the map design is perfect, and going to the San Francisco bridge and crashing into it and all that stuff, that is amazing. The Golden Gate Bridge, I think, is one of the coolest aspects. And another great thing about this map is the layout is pretty big. I mean, there's places to train. You can train in the cafeteria. That's like the most common spot. And then also, if you want, you can camp on the other side of the gate where Juggernaut is on the other side. A lot of people like to camp right there. That's a pretty good spot as well. So that is basically the map design. Do I think they need to change anything? Probably not, because I think the map design is pretty much perfect. It's what we've known to come and love. But if they did change anything, I think it'd be cool if they added a little bit more growth maybe to the map, and maybe open it up a little bit more, have a little bit more areas, and maybe spread out the distance between the jail cells a little bit more, because it is hard for a lot of people. I personally don't think it's hard, because I've done like the Easter egg speedruns and all that stuff, but a lot of people think it's one of the harder maps in Zombies. There's not too much room to get by certain areas, so maybe if they made it a little bit bigger it would be easier, but I don't think it's necessary. But that was just something I could think of off the top of my head.
Gonna break my rustic cage and run.
Alright guys, getting to the Easter egg. Now, the Easter egg is my favorite part about this map. I love it to death. It's one of my absolute favorites. I held the Easter egg world record twice now, and right now I'm in second place. And man, it is a great Easter egg. So overall, basically how the Easter egg works is you have to fly the plane 3 times to the Golden Gate Bridge. Also, while you're doing this, you have to fill up the dogs and get the tomahawk. You have to throw the tomahawk at the poster that is, I think, returned from the tomb or something like that, and that is actually the movie that's playing on Shadows of Evil. If you guys didn't know, both of those worlds are connected. Now, the cool thing also is that once you throw it at the poster, then you have to go in Afterlife mode, go behind that wall where the poster was, and you have to shock a spoon. Then you take your tomahawk, go to the cafeteria, throw your spoon at the spoon that's like outside the map, and then you'll hear a like Brutus say, "I'm coming for you," and then the cell numbers. The cell numbers are 101, 872, 386, and 481, and those are the numbers that you have to enter into the thing down the spiral staircase, there's numbers there, and you have to input those numbers, and those are all for the cell numbers. Once you do that, then there's like a audio trail that have headphones that you have to follow and complete the Easter egg. Once you get to the top, you go in afterlife mode and you go on the plane. Then you either break the cycle by Weasel killing the other characters, or continue the cycle where the other characters kill the Weasel. Now, there are various different other Easter eggs that you can do on this map. There's a music Easter egg, Where Are We Going? It's a great song, and also you can get the golden spork, which is amazing, and there's so many cool things about this map. There's a bunch of cool stuff, and it's really amazing. So those are basically like the main Easter egg that I want to mention in this video, but overall I think the Easter egg is perfect, and we're gonna get into changes later on in this video, but I think that the Easter egg is 100% amazing. It could probably be a little bit harder and maybe add a few more steps, but other than that, it's fantastic. Alright guys, next we're going to be talking about weapons. Now, this is probably the best part about this map, because there are so many amazing weapons on this map. First of all, you can get the Galil from the box, you can get the AK-47 from the box, and when you pack a punch it's called Reznov's Revenge, which is so sick, and that is just amazing. The Galil is called Lamentation. Also, you can get the Blundergat, which is basically a single shot shotgun. When you pack a punch it becomes a sweeper, and you can also, that's like a 2-shot, and then also you can get the acid gat ability, which is going to make it just a regular acid gat. It shoots 3 shots of acid, and then if you pack punch the acid gat, it's called the vitrolic withering, and this just makes this gun absolutely beast. All the shots from the vitrolic withering are literally monkey bombs, so the zombies flood to it and blow up and die from acid, which is awesome. That is probably like the coolest weapon on this map. Also, not only that, but you can get the golden spork, which is a one-hit knife to round 32, and also, and that's like another side Easter egg, I guess, and then also you can get the Hell's Redeemer and the Hell's Retriever. The Redeemer is the upgraded version of the Hell's Retriever. You have to get 50 kills and then throw it into a lava pit that is located underneath or right across from where the first dog is that you would normally feed to get the Hell's Retriever, and then you have to go in afterlife mode and pick it up, and I'm going to be showing that in this video. So that is definitely amazing. That is like one of the coolest things. I love doing that every single time. It's perfect. So the weapons are fantastic on this map. Not only that, but they have the Uzi on the wall, which is exclusive to Mob of the Dead in Black Ops 2, and also they have the Tommy gun. It was in Origins, but it's a great gun, and it's definitely one of my absolute favorites ever in Call of Duty Zombies. So those are basically the weapons on this map. They're really unique, really cool. There's a lot of unique ones that are only on this map, and that's what makes this map absolutely amazing.
Cold to start a fire, I'm burning diesel, burning dinosaur bones.
Alright guys, so now we're going to get into the storyline effects, and this one is kind of clouded by a lot of mystery because we don't really know too much about it. We know that in Origins, Richtofen has 2 blood vials. It's Sal DeLuca's as well as the Weasel's blood vials, and it's their blood within those vials. We know this because that is Sal DeLuca and the Weasel's cell numbers in Mob of the Dead, 101 and 872. Now the really interesting thing about this is we really don't know too much about the whole Mob of the Dead story and how it connects to, you know, Mob of the Dead or the main storyline. We don't know how it connects. It's really confusing. So we don't really know too much. There's a quote that the Weasel says where he says, Nikolai, Nikolai, why do I know that name? Which is really, really interesting. A lot of people have crazy theories like Nikolai is the Weasel's cousin or some crazy stuff that doesn't make sense at all. And there's a lot of really interesting stuff because after you complete the Easter egg on Zetsuba no Shima, they actually all teleport to Mob of the Dead, and when they get back, they all have blood vials. There's also some quotes where Dempsey is talking to Richtofen about going to Mob of the Dead, and Richtofen says, "Shh, Dempsey, that's our little secret." So that's really interesting. Dempsey says something about Alcatraz or something like that, which is really cool. And that is basically like all the stuff we know. And I think that those quotes make this like the coolest thing, because we still don't really know how it's connected, except for the fact of the blood vials and that. And also it connects to Shadows of Evil, which is really interesting. Weasel is a barber. Sal DeLuca's like a mob boss in the area. We don't really have anything from him, I don't think. Finn O'Leary owns like a whiskey area or whiskey place, and that's really awesome. So overall, I think that the storyline effects are basically like closed in on the actual mob story, where they are all planning to escape from Alcatraz Island. Weasel is kind of the one behind the whole thing. He developed and created Icarus and figured out how the plane, which is called Icarus, is going to go. And this storyline is really interesting, because the Alcatraz plane is flying over Shadows of Evil, it's flying over Zetsubo, and also it's on top of the catwalk room or teleporter C on the Giant. It's like right above it, which is crazy. It's really interesting. So basically how the story ends up unfolding is they're all stuck in a loop, and like I said before, if Weasel kills the other three characters, then the cycle breaks, and if the other characters kill Weasel, then the cycle continues, and basically they just keep going in the electric chair. They were all killed by the electric chair from the story, and basically it took place on New Year's Eve 1932. An interesting thing about that is the real Alcatraz Island jail only was opened on January 1st, 1933. So it's literally like the day after the map takes place, which is super interesting. But that's why you see fireworks in the background, and that's basically the storyline effects of Mob of the Dead. So now we get to the juicy stuff. If changes took place. Now, as far as remastering a map goes, I feel like Mob of the Dead doesn't really need to be remastered too much. As far as adding in graphics, yeah, that's gonna happen. Maybe add some finishing touches. The characters honestly look really good already, and I think they pretty much look perfect. Not only that, but there could be a lot of different things that they could do to this map to kind of change up the story and explain more about the blood vials, which are very important, because at the end of the Revelations cutscene, there's some empty blood vials. It seems like they either drank it or injected it into themselves, we don't really know, and then it just cuts to premise. But we never got an answer about the blood vials. We never really knew about it, because Monty said that those were areas that had already been cut off. So as far as Mob of the Dead goes, let's talk about things that could be implemented to change it a little bit. So we could play as the Origins crew going to Mob of the Dead and getting the blood vials after Zetsubo, kind of like an in-between mission between those two things, which would be absolutely amazing. Now, there's so many different things that they could do with this. Maybe we have a new Easter egg and we have to collect the blood or the blood vials, but also just having the regular Easter egg would be amazing, and it'd be cool if you could kind of toggle between which one you were going to do. Maybe one would have specific steps to that one, and the other one would have specific steps to just the normal one that we already know. Now, another cool thing is we're always talking about wanting game modes, and Grief would be a perfect game mode for this, because it could be the Origins crew versus the Mob of the Dead crew, and the Origins crew is trying to get blood from the Mob of the Dead crew, which would be flippin' dope. Now, as far as that goes, guys, we don't really know too much information. We don't know how they got the blood or anything like that, but I think that if they were to do this and had the Origins crew go there, this would be storyline stuff that we would love to learn and would be able to learn, which would be phenomenal. Now, another really cool thing about this map is we did get the Nocturne Toten on Black Ops 1 loading screen remastered for Mob of the Dead in the most recent comic from the Call of Duty Zombies comic, and it had a lot of interesting things there. It started off in like World War I, and then it goes to 1932 when the map actually takes place, and then it goes back to the normal time, I believe, when the crew returns to Zetsuba no Shima. So it's really interesting how that whole storyline is really working out, but I think it'd be really cool if this map was remastered, if it was changed, and all that sort of stuff combined. So anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Honestly, I really hope that Mob of the Dead is remastered, because it is one of my absolute favorite maps ever of all time, and also I really hope that there's a DLC 5. Right now we still don't really have a clue as to if it is real or not. And if you guys really enjoy this series, make sure to check out the Origins one if you haven't. I'm going to link it at the end of the video with an annotation or a card that you can click on, and also it'll be linked down below. It'll be the top link in the description. Not only that guys, but if you want me to make videos about Ascension or Moon, you can comment those down below, and the one that has the most comments for it I will make next week. And anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is GregFPS, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.
You tied my lead and pulled my chain to watch my blood begin to boil. But I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run.